Well, good morning. Go ahead and find your comfortable seat if you're not already in it. You might sit cross legged, you might sit in another way, but take a moment to land onto your practice space in a comfortable seat. And then allow your eyes to close as you start to notice how you're feeling today. Checking in with any physical sensation that might be present, either something that's chronically with you or something that is related to activities that you've been engaging in. But just take a few moments to check in with what uh, sensation might already be present. And as you're starting to check in, begin to breathe in a way that supports this awareness and attention on what's happening in this moment. So as you are breathing in and out through your nose, begin to notice and feel the expansion of your chest, your rib cage, your belly. And as you're breathing out, let the shoulders relax down away from the ears and the heart lift just very slightly. All right, we'll bring our palms together in front of the heart, interlace the fingers, press the palms forward and up. Start to reach up through one hand and up through the other side. Left and right a few times, gently tugging on the fingers as you reach up. All right, let the hands separate. Take them behind your back. Interlace the fingers there. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up across your chest. Begin to gently turn the head from side to side. And lift the chin up and drop it down. Lifting and lowering. Just a few times here. All right, when you bring your head back up to center, release the hands, let them rest on your legs. And then as you inhale, take your chest and belly forward, take your head and tailbone back in space. So you're arcing your spine as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under, round your back, and bring your chin toward your chest. And we'll do this seated version of cat and cow a few times. So each time you inhale, chest and belly go forward, head and tail go back. Each time you exhale, tuck and round. All right, take one more breath in this way. All right, then as you bring your torso back upright to neutral, we'll take the right leg out to the side. So it can just be out at an angle that is comfortable for your hip. Left leg still folded in. And then we'll start to walk the right hand down the right leg. Stop at the point where you start to feel a gentle tug on the back of this right leg. And then begin to move the left shoulder back in space. And then we'll sweep the left arm up alongside the head. And then squeeze and release the fingers of that left hand, as well as rotate through the wrist a few times each way. All right, with your next in breath, lift up. And as you breathe out, let that left hand come to the floor behind you and then cross the right hand over to the left knee. All right, then inhale, grow tall, lifting up through the crown of the head. Exhale as you twist to the left. Turn the head to look back. And then maintain the twist from your shoulders downwards, but let just your head turn back over toward the right. Maybe you spot your right foot. And then keep the head slowly turning side to side as the rest of the torso remains twisted. As you breathe slow and steady in and out through the nose. All right, take one more cycle of breath. And gradually untwist back to center. We'll take our arms out to the sides and then start to bring them forward so that you can take your right arm underneath your left arm and then twist the arms together. If your arms don't twist in this way due to proportions, maybe elbows and hands together. So either way, you're creating some space now in between the shoulder blades on your back. All right, start to lift the fingertips up, breathing deeply into that space between the shoulder blades. All right, one more cycle of breath. All right, unravel the arms. All right, we'll switch the legs. So take the left leg out, fold the right leg in. Again, just take this left leg out at an angle that's comfortable for your leg and hip. And then start to walk the left hand down the left leg. Again, stopping at the point where you start to feel a bit of a pull in the back of the leg, a little bit of a stretch. And then move the right shoulder back in space. We'll take that right arm up alongside the head. And as you reach with your right hand, squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist a few times each way. All right, the next time you breathe in, lift up. And breathing out, let that right hand come to the floor behind you. Take the left hand over to the right knee. Inhale, lift up tall. And exhale and twist over to the right. Turn the head to look back. And then pausing from the shoulders downwards, let the head now turn back over to the left, perhaps spotting that left foot. And let the head continuously turn as the rest of the body stays in the twist. Observing and feeling all these subtle changes in sensation in the body. All right, take one more round of breath. And then begin to release back to center. Take the arms out to the sides. And this time, take the left arm underneath. Twist the arms together in this way, or elbows together, palms together. Fingertips are reaching up as you start to create that stretch in between your shoulder blades once again. All right, take one more round of breath. And then unravel the arms. All right, so we'll shift now onto hands and knees. So as you bring yourself up onto hands and knees, just start with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Start to move your hips from side to side, just left and right. All right, then we'll move the hips forward and back. So toward the hands and toward the feet. The next time your hips go forward, take them out to the left and back and over to the right and forward. Again, left and back and right and forward. Now keep going in this counterclockwise squarish circle a couple more times. Really checking in with the hips, but also the weight distribution in the hands. Notice how that changes and shifts. The next time your hips go forward, change direction. So you're going clockwise now, so out to the right and back and left and forward. All right, one more full circle. And then take your hips back toward your feet as we set up child's pose. Now, depending on what's most comfortable in your body, you might take your legs fairly wide apart. You might take your knees right next to each other, but then start to fold forward. So your torso comes forward, your hips are close to your feet. If they don't touch, that's okay, but they're moving in that direction. And then as you release your head toward the floor, you might rest your head on your hands, the floor itself, or a block, or another soft prop. But allow your head somewhere soft to rest so that your hips and your head can gently fall away from each other. All right, we'll take 5 rounds of breath. All right, so after that 5th breath, pull yourself back up onto hands and knees. Now we'll tuck our toes under, lift the knees, take the hips up into the air. As we come into downward facing dog, start to lift and lower the heels. All right, as you now release down to your knees, we'll extend the left leg back in space, but just lift it up about the same height as your torso. So left leg is reaching back. Imagine that your left foot is pushing against the wall behind you. You want to make sure your leg is strongly engaged. And then adding to that, take the right arm forward. So left leg, right arm. Now we'll take that right arm out to the side. And then right hand to low back. And then back out to the side. And forward. And then down to the floor. Now cross that left leg over the right leg, drop the toes. Curve the spine to the right so you're peeking back at your left foot. All right, bring your torso neutral. Pick that leg up, take it all the way out from the left hip. Walk your hands in, lifting the torso up. Left hand comes to rest on the left leg and sweep the right arm up alongside the head. All right, with your next in-breath, lift up. And with your out right arm, now we'll take a big step forward with this left foot. Comes down to the floor. Scoot the right knee back a little into a lunge. 2 legs is up to you. If it's too much to take a really long lunge, like too big of a stretch for you, if it hurts, just narrow the distance between your 2 legs so it's less pull on that right hip and thigh. right hand on the floor and the left hand on your left leg, just begin to gently twist toward your left leg. Perhaps even turn the head to look back. All right, one more round of breath. All right, release back to hands. One goes under, and again, lift up into downward dog. From this downward dog, take a breath in as you rock forward into plank pose, taking your shoulders over your wrists. Keep reaching back through the feet, and then exhale back into downward dog. All right, 2 more times. Inhale, rock forward, finding plank. Exhale, shift back. All right, one more time, breathing in and breathing out. All right, release down to your knees. This time, right leg goes back in space, lifted up about the same height as your torso. And then left arm forward. All right, now take that left arm out to the side. And left hand to low back. And then back out to the side. And forward. And then down to the floor. Now cross your leg over your left leg, drop the toes. Curve the spine to the left so you're peeking, but sensing all the way up the right side of the body. All right, bring the torso back to neutral. Pick your right leg up, take it all the way out to the right, directly out from your hip. Walk your hands in, lifting up. Right hand comes to rest on the right leg, and take the left arm up alongside the head. All right, next time you breathe in, lift up. Out, release that left hand. Take a step forward with your right foot as you come into your lunge. Left hand comes down to the floor. You might scoot that left knee back a little bit to get a little bit more space between your legs, or narrow the distance between the legs, depending on how it feels in your body. All right, so right hand to right thigh, start to twist toward the right. Couple rounds of breath here. As you feel the hips dropping down and forward, belly gently engages to help support. All right, now releasing back to hands and knees. From hands and knees, this time we'll come all the way forward and down onto the front of our bodies. So take your hips and belly all the way down to the floor. Bring the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders. Press down into your forearms. Lift your heart. Pull the elbows towards your hips. And then find a comfortable angle for your neck. So sometimes we just automatically look forward, but for some of us that might cause some discomfort in the back of the neck. So you might look slightly down if that feels better for your neck. Couple cycles of breath. All right, after your next exhale, slowly lower chest and head down to rest on the floor. Take a full breath in and out. And let the knees bend. Sway the feet from side to side. All right, then release the feet. Press back up onto hands and knees. And then we'll tuck our toes under, lift up to downward dog. But this time from downward dog, walk your hands back toward your feet so that you end up in a forward fold, somewhat near the back of your mat. Your knees might be a little bit bent here as the torso rests on or close to the thighs. Release the weight of the head. Shake it yes and no. All right, begin to walk your hands up the fronts of your legs, rising up to stand. And then once you come to stand, take your feet about hip distance apart. They could be a little closer, a little wider, depending on comfort and stability, but somewhere in the neighborhood of hip distance. And then as you inhale, press your hips back while lifting the arms forward and up. So really take most of the weight into your heels, less weight in the balls of the feet so that you really feel the backs of your legs engaging more so than the front. The front are too, but really take the weight into your heels so you connect with the back of your legs. Now, the next time that you exhale, press into your heels, rise up, and reach your arms back in space so that you're opening up across the chest. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, find your chair pose. And exhale to stand, reach back. All right, one more, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, now step wide on the mat. Turn the right toes out towards the short edge of the mat. Turn the left toes just slightly in. And then take your arms out to the sides. All right, deep breath in here as you look to the right. Exhale, bend your right knee. Again, inhale, straighten. Exhale and bend. And one more, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, now the next time that you inhale, lean back towards your left leg. Take your right arm up alongside the head. Keep that right knee bent. Now as you exhale, right forearm to right thigh, left arm up alongside the head. Again, inhale up and back. Right knee stays bent. Exhale, shifting forward. All right, one more like that. Breathing in. And breathing out. I'll pause here for a few rounds of breath. Move the upper shoulder back a little bit. Turn the head to look up beyond your upper arm. See if you can get a little bit lighter with the weight that's on that right thigh. So try not to fully fall into your right leg, but just use it as a little bit of support. All right, one more breath in and out. Next, inhale, lift up, straighten the right leg. Exhale, release your left arm down. All right, parallel your feet to each other. Take the arms up. Let your right hand drop toward the space behind your back or behind your neck along the back. Left hand grabs the elbow. Left hand grabs the right elbow. All right, and just start to move that right elbow toward your head, finding just enough sensation to hold your attention here in the back of your right arm. Try to bring the head into neutral if it's dropping down. We'll take 5 cycles of breath. All right, and then after your 5th breath, slowly release the arms, give them a little shake out. And then we'll switch the feet. So turn the left toes now out towards the short edge. Right toes slightly in. Arms come out over the legs. Looking over to the left, take a breath in. Exhale as you bend your left knee. Again, inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. One more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Now, keeping that left knee bent, inhale and lean back towards your right leg. Left arm up alongside the head. Exhale, shift forward. Left forearm to thigh. Right arm up alongside the head. Twice more. Inhale up and back. Keeping that left knee bent. And exhale, shift forward. And then one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Now, pausing here in this posture. Move the upper shoulder slightly back so you can turn your head and look up beyond that upper arm. Try to get a little lighter in the amount of weight that your left arm is dropping into your left leg. So rather than collapsing fully into your leg, just lightly support. All right, one more full breath. All right, with your next in-breath, lift up. Straighten the leg. With your out-breath, release your arm. All right, again, parallel your feet. Take the arms out to the sides. This time it's left hand going behind the back, left elbow reaching up, and then right hand grabs the elbow. And just draw that arm toward the head. Maybe it goes behind the head, maybe it just comes kind of near the head. But wherever your arm goes, you're looking for sensation here in the back of this left arm. 5 rounds of breath. All right, slowly release. Give the arms a little shake out. All right, step near the back of the mat. Feet about hip distance apart. We'll come into one more chair pose as we inhale. Press the hips back, float the arms up. Then as you exhale, fold over your legs. Walk out to downward dog. All right, release down to your knees. And come all the way down onto the front of your body. All right, so this time, take your right arm out to the side, so directly out from your shoulder. And then turn your head over to the left. As you press down into that left hand, just start to turn your chest away from the floor. Now, maybe you stack your legs in the way that I have. If that's a little bit too much on that right shoulder, maybe you keep your left knee down on the floor. For some, it may be comfortable to step that left foot back toward the space behind your right leg. But just organize the legs in a way that they support the stretch that's happening in the right side of the chest, arm, and shoulder. All right, take one more cycle of breath. And then rolling back onto your front. Take your right arm down alongside the torso to pause and rest. All right, we'll do the other arm. So now take your left arm directly out to the side. Turn your head over to the right. Press down into your right hand so that you start to turn your chest away from the floor. And again, maybe you stack your legs, one on top of the other. Maybe you keep that right knee down for a little bit of support, or step the right foot back to intensify the posture. Keeping in mind that we're not necessarily looking for the most all of the time. So find some sensation that holds your attention and then breathe into it. All right, take one more round of breath. And then rolling back onto your front. Left arm comes down alongside the body to pause and rest. All right, as you press back up onto hands and knees, come back into your seat. All right, as we join our palms now in front of the heart, we bow to the light within ourselves as well as each other. Thank you again for practicing with me today, whether you're with me live or watching the replay. Um, I will be doing my next one on Wednesday, I believe is the 30th. And then I'll probably keep up the Saturdays, but then in May, instead of Wednesday, it'll be Monday evening at 4. So a little bit of a change to the schedule, but I'll always upload the video to YouTube and all of the other platforms so you can see when the next one is. In any case, thank you again for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye.